So there are two challenges that you can face in this context. There are two challenges you can face. The first challenge is the leakages that happen as a result of misnomers, like the things that happened that shouldn't have happened, or postures, wrong things. Okay, but there is another means of leakage that the eyes might not be able to perceive, and that is when someone does not maximize what God brought, the investment of grace that God brought, or what we acquired, we possess. If it is not used, it is considered as leaking. In fact, after some time, the things that you thought you knew, you'll be looking for them, you can't find it. It is in use that you permanently traps it. So I normally tell people that there are two ways to make things that you saw, experienced, heard your own. Number one is priesthood. Number two is practice. So considering this now, I will just give you, there are many things you can mention, but I will just tell you 3 or 4 reasons why there is leakages. Or rather, let me put it this way, let me be solution driven. The things that maybe I can do and somebody else can do. The things that probably made me not be too susceptible to such leakages. In fact, I should say that majority of my coming here is not just the application of what I had, is how I have been able to manage leakages. Let me tell you something. It does not matter how much you acquire. If there is leakages, it's like a waste. If God designs that a vessel is a leaking vessel, He will not keep pouring. The labor that a leaking vessel should invest himself in is how to block the leakage. Number one thing you can do, stay around locations, places that strengthens your conviction. There are environments that are naturally spiritually charged. The tendency to stumble upon negative energy or something that will drain you is low. You can describe them as your God zone, so that even if you suffer weakness somewhere else, if you come there, you are sure that just appearing there has refreshed and restored you. Okay, if you check the pattern of the apostles, one of the things you will notice is this: sometimes when they are persecuted, flogged, you know what they do? The scripture said they go back to their company. Everybody must not joke with a company of burning house. They don't have to be somebody bigger than you or smaller than you or anything. They just have to be a burning conclave. Anytime you appear there, suddenly you lose your weakness just because you appeared. If that is the only thing, you know that there will be a restoration of your altar. God's zone. Every man that wants to make it must locate his God's zone. You are not as strong as you are everywhere. There are some places that physical locations that adds to your capacity to contain, to keep the things that you have received. The tendency to leak is low because that environment keeps. Those places are like spiritual vaults. The burglary is low there. For example, our brothers here, maybe in revival hubs, maybe Sabona. The tendency for a brother to answer a call from a former girlfriend is very little, low, when you are staying in Sabona. Why? Because this is your God zone. This is a fellowship of it. The environment does not lend itself to such leakage. So there are people, they come pray with us, fast with us, do many things, go back home. Some of them go back home to a toxic environment. Some sisters will go back, their parents will talk to them for 4 hours. By the time they are through, they will feel worse than they were before they went. They are just managing to survive. Satan finds a way to leak out the things that there is. Many ways Satan does it. So the first wisdom that God generates is to create for believers. That is the purpose of a local assembly. These days, it's for social purposes. Somebody can be there and is not protected spiritually. Somebody can be there and is going down. Somebody cannot vow that if he goes to his church on Sunday, that his weakness will be at least dealt with. Even if he's not dealt with it, he can receive a kind of succor. The person can even go there and it will be worsened. Yes, now, the person's temptation is singing with her in the choir. Meanwhile, that's supposed to be your God. So, first thing God need to do for you and you need to identify is your God zone. It might not be your church. It might be that group of people you are praying with in campus or in the night. It might be that group of friends. You need to have a God zone. Once it becomes worse, run. I know we are in the village at Nnewi here. You are in Lagos, you are doing ministry, and then they hit you. Instead of you to stay there and die and drain out and your battery go off, run! Get on Nnewi here. Let it be your God zone. Stay for 1 week, 2 weeks, recover yourself. Many of you brothers and sisters have done it, and then you can go back. You see, in the environment of the God zone, the possibility of leaking out is less because that environment is charged.